Bonjour relatives, Shangwewe Kamigu Queen Indigenous Cause. I'm Jamie Kellicott with HIR Wellness Institute, and we are live for emotional sobriety. We are here. It is Friday. We are wrapping up our week. We are getting ready to start our weekend, and we are so glad that you've joined us. I'm starting our smudge here so that we can start our time together in a good way. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? We are really looking forward to being able to hear from all of you. So as we continue to talk today, I want to encourage any of you, if you feel up to it, to leave us a comment. Let us know how you're doing. How's your week been? And what I'd like to do is I would like to have our staff and intern. So we have Xavier and John here with me. Every week we show up, the three of us, and we want to hold space for all of you. And we're also holding space for each other. And what we're doing is we're modeling what an emotional sobriety support group would look like if we weren't on Facebook Live, if we were just doing a private Zoom together. So this is what we would look like. We would come together in this virtual circle and we would spend an hour together talking about recovery, talking about healthy coping, talking about some of the struggles that we go through, all the things that we all feel, some of those things that we're working on normalizing some of that language, normalizing what those feelings are, normalizing that it's okay to not be okay. So that's what we're doing here. And if this is your first time joining us, first I want to say welcome and miigwech, thank you for being here. HIR Wellness Institute is a nonprofit in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that was founded and developed by Leah Denny, our CEO and founder, who is just an amazing woman, an amazing, amazing, amazing human spirit who walks with so much love in her heart for all of us, for all her staff, for our communities. We offer free mental health and wellness services to anyone who's Indigenous, to underserved communities, to anyone who's been impacted by any sort of crime, especially those who've been impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, human trafficking, and MMIP, which stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. So thank you for being here. We really appreciate having you with us. And now I am going to pass it over to Xavier. How you doing, Xavier?
Hi, Jamie. Thank you for that. I am doing well today. I know we were just, I'm still laughing about our whole fiasco of trying to get onto Facebook Live. We kind of switched things up today, and I'm the one kind of controlling the live. We're not controlling the live, but
Yeah.
so there was a little bit of mishap in terms of doing that, which brought joy. So yeah, it brought joy. So I'm still kind of in a laughing, silly mood. But I'm doing well. Today is Friday. For those of you that don't know, my name is Xavier Smart. I am a community healer and counselor here at HIR Wellness Institute. So what that entails is, a variety of different things. I'm able to just provide community support to our relatives, help find resources, educate about certain things, right? I help out with certain groups, being able to, as a counselor, having that background, being able to bring in mental health pieces excuse me, teaching just different stress reduction strategies. So just a variety of different things that I do here at HIR Wellness, and this group being one of them, which I absolutely love being a part of with Jamie and John, to be able to just come together every Friday and model what a group, a private Zoom group would look like. I think it's especially during this time, right, of COVID-19, being able to just provide support, to provide some care. Um, yeah, so I'm just grateful, filled with so much gratitude and joy at this moment, right? So with that, I'll go ahead and pass to John.
Yep, thank you so much, Xavier, and thank you, Jamie. So, relatives, welcome, and my name is John, and I am a social work intern at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And I'm so glad to be here every Friday with Xavier and also Jamie. And then I also help facilitate with them on Thursdays for our Survivors of Suicide, which is a private Zoom group. And if you're interested in that, you can always email Jamie and I'll put down her email. So for anyone who's interested in that, where we're there every Friday, every Thursday from 5 till 6, just again holding space and just talking and just helping out anyone who needs someone to talk to. And I love being here every Friday as well with Jamie and Xavier. And then I also help with the Children's Fire Book Club, which will be starting back up in a few weeks. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also help moderate for Malia's R&R every Friday morning at 8 till 9. So you'll see me there. Thank you so much, and I hope you join and comment down below, relatives. And also, just very quickly, if you see someone moderating down there, it is me. So sometimes you might see my eyes kind of moving back and forth. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for holding that space for us, because every week John is here adding comments. He is putting helpful tips into the comment section. He's paying attention to if we have any relatives that are commenting and have questions or anything like that. So really appreciate that, John. And I appreciate so much that you're able to like navigate both. You know, you're able to comment in and keep track of moderation, and then you're also bringing your energy into this space. So thank you. Thank you very much. And today what we're going to do is we have a meditation, an elder's meditation that we'll read. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our workbook that we use each week. And we'll see where we go from there. We always have, we like our groups. Let me rephrase this. We like our time together, our emotional sobriety time together, to really be fed by the moment, by spirit. Sometimes we find that a lot of times, actually, what is talked about in our meditation connects with what we're maybe feeling that day or what we've been going through. And what we also find a lot of times is that the material that we choose for the day organically happens. It organically comes together where it's like, you know what, this is exactly what we need today. And I say that, relatives, because I want to encourage you. If you are feeling maybe a little shy or scared, or maybe you feel like, I don't know if my voice matters in this conversation, I want to let you know that it does. It does matter. As I guarantee that if you have something that's kind of pulling on you, there you're feeling something that's kind of poking at you saying, hey, wait, I think you should say something. Or if you're feeling like, I'm feeling a little sweaty in my palms, I don't know, I think I'm too nervous. I want to say something, but I'm scared. That's exactly when you should be saying something. And whatever it is that you're holding on to that you'd like to share, that will absolutely help someone else. It will. It will be exactly what someone needed to hear. So I just like to remind you all that, because I was once also that scared individual who was unsure of using her voice, unsure of speaking up, and unsure of adding my spirit to my environment. And I've learned since then that when my spirit starts poking at me, I'm supposed to be talking. I'm supposed to be bringing up whatever that is. So you all, if you've joined us before, you know that I'm walking in recovery. I've been on the Red Road for over 6 years. It was 6 years this past October. And I've been in recovery from alcohol and also on a healing journey from many traumas that have occurred in my life. I am a survivor of domestic violence, sexual assault, intimate partner violence. My children have felt that same abuse. And there's also a lot of intergenerational trauma that has been passed down within my family. Many of us, perhaps all of us, understand that. And it took me a long time to get myself to a place where I was ready to stop the cycle. And I continue to work on that. It's a daily practice. Our healing journey does not end just because we get to a point where we're like, wow, I feel really great. I feel like I've really healed from those traumas that have happened to me or those experiences that I've had. The healing journey doesn't stop. It's a lifelong process. It will continue on forever. And there's going to be days that are hard. There's going to be days where you're sad, where you're crying. There might be days where you're angry. There may be days where you're looking to the sky like, why? I don't know why. Why? Why me? Why this? Why do I have to feel this? And I just want to remind you, relatives, that you're not alone. You're not alone. We all have that. This week, the last couple days has been my time of having really difficultness, of having moments of questioning, am I doing the right thing? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? Why am I feeling so sad? Why do I feel like there's so much heaviness on me? And that's what's been occurring for me. Struggles internally with my family, with my children, just a lot of hard walks. But then I start to remember and think about when I really sit and just reflect on what's happening. I'm reminded that I do have some really amazing support systems that are surrounding me all the time, all the time. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about who are those support systems. But before we get into that, let's hear what our meditation is for today. So it's January 22nd. It is Friday. And here's the book that we read out of. It's called Meditations with Native American Elders, The Four Seasons by Don Koyas. Wellbriety was something that I came across as I was early in my recovery. And it was completely life-changing for me. And so I like to share these with you. The first factor in the revolution of consciousness is the mystic death of the ego, the death of negative thinking, negative personalities. We must purify the soul of the inner enemies. Every time a defect manifests, envy, gluttony, anger, lust, whatever, that impulse to the heart, ask, do I really need to invoke this? And then honor the heart. And that's a quote by Willaroo, and I don't know how to say the last name. I think we had one last night too by this elder from Peru, Willaroo Huyata. Our egos have character defects. These character defects we sometimes act out, and they invariably bring results to our lives that we might not want. If we continue to use these character defects, we will continue to have undesirable results in our lives. How do we change ourselves or get rid of character defect? We can go to the heart, ask a question, make a decision, then honor the heart. For example, say I get angry today. I would go to the heart and ask, would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? How we answer this question can have enormous impact on how our day goes. Once we decide the answer to this question, we need to honor the heart by saying, "Thank you for the power of changing my thoughts. I choose to be happy and to experience peace of mind. Great Spirit, today let me teach only love and learn only love." I think that is a good reminder for all of us. How can we go wrong if we're starting with our heart? I don't know. I don't know if we can go wrong if we're using our heart. It's really easy when something comes up in life that is scary, that is hurtful, that maybe reminds us of some past experience that was really, really harmful. It's really easy to go to that place that's really super emotional and full of our ego or our human experience. It's harder for us to slow down and think back to, oh yeah, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I could just go back to my heart, go to my heart, go to my true source. Whatever that is, whatever that word is for you, go there and start there. And it's connected to a whole lot of things. I'm thinking about forgiveness. I'm thinking about letting go. I'm thinking about grief. I'm thinking about prayer and reflection. So it's connected to a lot. And it's not always easy. I know that. I know that. I was experiencing it full on this week. There was a lot of tears for me this week, a lot of puffy eyes, just feeling hurt and unsure and not knowing why. And so I get it. I get it. I also know that I was able to bring myself out of that. And it wasn't just me though. I wasn't alone in that. I had my husband who was there to help me, to pick me back up and to talk to me and just listen to what I was feeling and what I had to say. I had my colleagues, my dear friend Leah, who just happens to also be my boss. So you just never know where those support systems are. I had a support group that the three of us were facilitating last night, and there was support and love in there. And so even if, I guess I say this because I don't want us, no matter who you are, no matter who you are, I don't want us to get caught up in titles and get caught up in places of like who you are in society, because we all can hurt. Doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter what we look like, what we sound like, what ethnicity we come from, what family we come from, what political party we believe in. None of that matters. We can all hurt. And we can all experience joy, love, and kindness. And so today I encourage us, as we're talking about these pieces that we will bring into this space today, to remember that no matter what you're feeling, no matter how hard it may seem today, you have support systems all around you, waiting with their arms open, saying, I'm here for you. All you got to do is ask. Maybe even just look up at me and open your arms too. And then I'll know you're wanting some help. That's okay. It's okay to need help. It's okay to not be okay. We're all in this together. So those are my thoughts with that meditation. Xavier, what are you sitting with? What are you feeling right now?
Yeah, thank you for such beautiful words, Jamie. That everything you said spoke to me almost more than more than the meditation. But no, I this meditation was powerful in itself as well, and I think what's standing out to me the most is asking your heart, would you rather be right or would it rather be happy?
Mm-hmm.
It's I've never thought about that in moments of um, you know moments of negative thinking or those inner enemies. Like I never thought of that aspect of tuning into my heart space and saying, okay, what are you needing right now? Like, do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy? What do you need? And I think that's just such a powerful act to be able to do that, right? And to also, in that moment, that also gives us the opportunity to slow down and also breathe into that heart space, right? So we can just breathe in whatever it is that we need into that heart space, which can help us in answering that question, right? And answering what it is that we need. Because allowing ourselves to breathe into that space, again, slows us down, gives us a little bit, moment of clarity where we can tune in just a little bit and listen to the whispers of maybe it's happiness. And that way we can make the choice that is suitable for our spirits in that moment. And yeah, so I'm sitting with that and just the powerful act of just asking your heart space that question. So
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Xavier.
you're welcome.
John, how about you?
Yeah, I love it. It's a very powerful statement, and I love that same part that Xavier was talking about. How would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? And again, relatives. Sometimes being right doesn't always lead to happiness either. Sometimes it's just confronting the reality of what's at hand, and it may be difficult at times. And I love that statement because exactly like what Xavier stated, taking that time to just step back and process it, giving yourself that moment to just really think about it. Because I know that sometimes in the heat of the moment, it comes out as just a quick reaction. So I love that statement because it's taking that step back and just let me think about it and see what I want to do, what I really want to do, and really sit with it. Because I know that oftentimes, sometimes when something triggers you or sets you off and you get upset, um, sometimes you just react to it. So that's such a powerful statement of just that reminder of you have a choice. You make the decision. Something
Mm-hmm.
can't force you to do something. You have control. And it's just that reminder to give that control back to you, and you get to decide what you want to do with it. So I love that so much because it's giving the control back to you instead of allowing things to make decisions for you. So I just love that part so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Xavier and Jamie.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Thanks for both of you for bringing your energy into this space and your shares and your ideas. It all matters and it's all helping so many. I know that. I know it's helping so many. It's really appreciated. Today is going to be kind of about support systems. And we also have a workbook that we talk about a little bit and we bring into this circle. And I would love it, Xavier, if you could share with us, where are we at? What are we going to talk about today, along with our support systems?
Yeah, absolutely. So relatives, again, this is our, our emotional sobriety group, if you will, and the book that we're using, the workbook that we're using is, if you, oh, my background is probably gonna.
I can hold it up too, Xavier.
Okay.
I'll hold it up.
Okay. Maintaining Emotional Sobriety During COVID-19 by Tian Dayton. So this book the book that we're using just really gives us the opportunity to learn how to navigate walking the red road, walking recovery, while at the same time trying to maneuver and understand how to live life during this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And this book has so many great tools and so many great insights. And we've been just going through this book the last few weeks, and we've really touched base on so many different aspects, but something we've really allowed ourselves to reflect and sit on: how can we create safety? And the importance of creating safety at this time is so important. It's so important. Again, because of so much uncertainty, so much fear, anxiety, right? So we've really just the past few weeks just been going through reviewing how we can create safety. And some of those, just to kind of review, is one of the most important ones that we've kind of identified is putting a mental boundary around this period, right? And Jamie always does the box, right? So putting this moment in a box and understanding that this is just a moment, right? That this isn't gonna last forever. That this is just a moment in time, and that things will get better as we continue to learn to navigate how we can create safety for ourselves, for our family members, and how we can just continue to grow as we continue to I guess essentially await for things to get better, right? So with that, today we're going to transition now into just exploring some of the stages of personal reactions to this pandemic, right? So again, we've spent weeks just really exploring how we can create safety. And the importance of doing that is so that we can become grounded, so that we can reorient ourselves back to present moment, so we can slow down, so we can breathe. And then that gives us the opportunity to then now move into, okay, now that we've created these foundational pieces, what were we feeling when this entire thing started, right? And this gives us the opportunity to really dive into a little bit of a deeper conversation of how we were feeling, right? Now that we've created those that safety net, right? Those things to anchor us when we become a little bit activated talking about things. So today we'll just be exploring again, some of those personal reactions and how what has helped us in terms of navigating those reactions, right? And in conjunction with the support systems that we have and how that's been beneficial. Um, so I'll just kind of start, right? So for me, it has a list of different responses, and I'll just go through briefly and read those. So we have shock, we have helplessness, feeling overwhelmed, right? Feeling a sense of grief, sense of loss, disconnection from ourselves and others. We have uncertainty, And then we have fear of the future, feeling anxious and scared. So
Mhm.
those are some of the feelings, right, that can come up, or that may have came up, or that are still present during this pandemic, and experiencing this moment of time, right? So for me personally, I think initially when this whole thing kind of started, there there was, I think, a lot of different ones, right? But I think what's standing out for me the most as I reflect and look at this list is just the fear of the future, feeling anxious, feeling scared. Um, yeah, there was so much of that, and oftentimes, every once in a while, there still is for me some of that fear that comes up, some of that anxiousness, that anxiety that comes up, and it's been a journey, right? Continuing to learn how to navigate it, um, how to lean into it, and a little bit about me is, I am ways away from family members. I'm from Florida, and I'm living in Wisconsin, right? And to be away from family during this time is scary, right? There's so much concern for my family that's in Florida. My mom, she's in the front line. She works in the hospital, so she's around it almost every day. That worries me. That scares me. Um, and then my family in the Bahamas, right? So there's just so much. The dynamic of it is vast, and again, there although the anxiousness, the worry of if they're going to be okay, are they safe, all were very prevalent and present when we first heard about COVID and having to go on lockdown. And I'm still continuing to navigate that, right? And learning to navigate that. And I'll talk about a little bit more, right, how that's going as this group continues. But with that, I just kind of want to open the group up to I'll pass to, we'll go to John, right? To see, for you, John, I'm curious as to what were some of your responses as to once COVID just kind of came into our lives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what really stood out for me was the overwhelmed. Just because, again, there was just so much thing that happened overnight. Everyone went on to lockdown, and all of these new, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it was a lot to take in. And I know that for many of my loved ones, like even my grandmother, she used to go to her senior center Monday through Friday, and that was her only outlet out of the house. So now, since the beginning of the pandemic and since the lockdown, she hasn't been out of the house just because she is elderly and have health conditions that put her at a higher risk. She hasn't left the house at all since the beginning of the pandemic. So not only was it overwhelming for me, I'm thinking about my family member and the elderly, of just how restricted things are, and how scary it is for the elderly and for frontline workers and stuff like that. And also for me, it was overwhelming as well because I love doing my social work of going out to seeing people in the community and going out and doing things in the community. And since that happened, all of my work at the time transitioned to virtual services, which
Mhm.
was very difficult for me to adjust to, because you're so used to going out every single day and doing something, and now you're restricted. You stay inside and you're just working at home, which definitely was a huge challenge for me too. And not only that, since I started going to school, all my classes are virtual, and it's my first time taking online classes, and that was a struggle. Just trying to sit down and focus, because for me, when I'm at home, that's my personal time. And so now I'm trying to convert and change my mindset of, okay, I have to set time aside for school now. But it's so difficult because you can't leave and go places because of the restrictions and stuff like that. So it's definitely been a challenge, and still kind of overwhelmed by it, but I'm sticking to it. Everything that's going on, try my best to make sure that I'm safe, my family members are safe, and my community is safe. That's the most important thing to me. So as overwhelmed as I can get sometimes with just how I'm just like, okay, it's been almost a year now. I'm kind of tired. I'm over it. But you have to think about the goal of this is just temporary. It's not going to last forever. We're starting to make that transition of getting the vaccine, and I'm starting to see little glimmers of hope, but we can't quit now. So that kind of helps motivate me to continue to be safe and stay safe and make sure that everyone I'm around is safe.
Mhm.
And then I just wanted to read a comment very quickly from Gwen Carl. She said that my support system is very small. I have a hard time with trust, although I am working on it.
Miigwech. Thank you, Gwen. Yep.
And then she
Yes.
also mentioned that it's so hard with school, with virtual. I'm assuming she said that's so hard. I procrastinated last semester and struggled at the end, hoping I have this figured out this next semester.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gwen. Miigwech. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Mhm.
Trust is a big. I get that. We'll let's pin that. We got to come back to that one when we talk about support systems for sure.
Thank you. Thank you, John, for bringing your voice into this space, sharing your energy, sharing your truth, um, and normalizing, right? That, hey, I am overwhelmed. Yes, that's a feeling, overwhelmed about all of it. So thank you for that. So Jamie, I'm curious as to, for you, were your initial reactions?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, as I look at the trauma responses for COVID-19, what's sitting with me really is the grief, sense of loss, and disconnection. For me, so I have 4 children that are mine, and I have 2 stepdaughters. So I have 2 girls my own, 2 boys my own, and then 2 stepdaughters and 2 granddaughters. And right before this all happened, my second daughter was living at home, but chose to go into lockdown with her, or I should say, this was like all at the same time. It was like lockdown was happening, the pandemic is starting to raise up. We all went virtual, and she chose to work in, I guess her work went into a lockdown. So anybody who chose to do that, everyone lived at work and they stayed there for those 14 days. And I knew that well, guess I don't know. I didn't know for sure. I didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody did, right? And didn't know how long this was going to last or what was going to happen. Well, my daughter was living here, and once we started to really see that this is like very serious and we have to be very cautious and we have to protect our own family and protect ourselves from getting sick and our loved ones who are high risk, and we're trying to do the right thing for our communities, it was very clear that she couldn't come back home. And so it was like a forced move out that we had to do to keep everyone safe. And so I never had the natural progression of like watching her move out, and as her mom, like seeing her move out for her first time and go and start doing adult things and becoming an adult. And so that was difficult. And so there's grief there of like not being able to do that. And there's a lot of grief. There's a lot of grief with a lot of things. The loss of connection has been huge because I'm very close. Our family is very close. And to not be able to hug my children has been really difficult and very difficult. Even if they're just because they're adult children doesn't mean that mom doesn't still want to sit with them and cook for them and spend time with them and hug them. And so that has been very difficult. Um, and that is something that I believe for myself, I started to compartmentalize things. I started to say, okay, I can't stay there because I'm going to be a big ball of tears every day if I only focus on that. So I got to take that and I got to put it over here in this box. And I'm just going to keep reminding myself that this isn't forever. It won't be forever. And we'll eventually get back to being able to see each other again. That sense of loss and the grief and the disconnection, however, has gotten stronger due to the social unrest that we deal with within our society, and then our political system that the just political, whatever we call that we just went through the last 4 years has truly, like this past, since the pandemic, the last 4 years were hard, but then add on top of it, loss of connection with your family, the pandemic, everything is changing in life. Like literally everything is changing. We were all virtual. We're doing the best that we can by still having connections like this. And even still, it's hard, right? It's still hard. It's not what we would want for each other. Of course, we would want to be together and to have circle together in the same room, setting up chairs, eating a meal together, sharing in conversation with tea together. So that is the one that's really sitting heavily with me. I also am experiencing what I think happens when you have family that's very close and children who are close to their parents. And there was the what do I say? How do I say this? There was a pattern, or it was a routine to have regular conversations together. And those conversations were full of moments of education, moments of laughter, moments of giving advice or guidance, and just sort of talking through things that we see within the world, within our environment, within our communities. And then when that's taken away completely, and then we're all left to our own devices, we're all left to just sort of figure it out on our own. And at least what I'm experiencing and seeing is that when young adults are sort of forced to go out and to just sort of figure it out, and then we have a society that is very much is entrenched with social media, entrenched with all sorts of things that are constantly bombarding us, messages, different headlines from all different sources that may not even be accurate, but they're coming at us all day long from all different directions. And if we haven't given ourselves the time to be able to really like look into what is that, what are those sources, and what are those things, and what are these things that are bombarding me constantly, are they even true, or is it just entertainment, or what is that? And so there's a lot of like hurtful, harmful, dark, hateful messages that are out there that for me, in my experience, and in like what I'm dealing with right now, is that they're truly so unfortunately powerful that they have this ability to pull apart families, at least momentarily. At least that's what I'm seeing momentarily. That they're able to pull people apart. And so sense of loss and disconnection and grief is really very, very heavy on my heart right now. And I am hopeful. I am hopeful. I do remember that we're just in this box right now and that it's not going to be forever. And I do believe that love will conquer, that love is going to be on top versus hate and negativity and sadness. Yeah. So that's been my trauma responses. Thank you for asking, Xavier. And you know what? I'm really glad that you're going to teach us about some other things that can get us moving towards the more hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jamie, for being vulnerable in this space, sharing your truth with each and every one of us. Can't imagine that might have been scary for you. Who knows, right? But to honor your spirit in that way, um, thank you for that. And like Jamie said, relatives. The next point that comes with the responses that we've all kind of experienced and continue to experience. The book labels it as growth inhibiting responses, right? So these are responses that kind of keeps us down, that keeps us in those moments, that keeps us from seeing the light. And then the goal is to get to growth producing responses, right? So responses that bring us to light, responses that invite hope, that give us that sense of peace. And in both John and Jamie's share, right, you heard moments of those growth inhibiting responses, right? The feeling of being anxious, being worried about family members, feeling a sense of sadness, feeling a sense of maybe a sense of anger, maybe a sense of frustration, right? These are all different responses that can come out of our initial trauma response to COVID-19, right? Getting to a point where it's like, if you're worried about the future, right? I know for me again, I often find myself thinking in circles, right? Ruminating thoughts and just going down this rabbit hole of horribleness, which creates anxiety, which creates a sense of panic, like, oh my gosh, like I'm so worried, I'm so anxious, my heart's beating super fast, I'm getting real hot, I'm a little bit sweaty. So these are just some things, right, that I myself have experienced. And in order to get to a space of seeing the light, right, or those growth producing responses, I've had to lean on support system, right? I've had to lean on some of those tools that we've talked about in terms of creating safety. So those foundational pieces, right? I find myself journaling, something I love to do that helps bring me back to the present moment, right? Meditating is something I also love to do. Being in tune with my breath slows me down. It lets me know that everything is okay. Another thing I love to do is I love to jam out to some music, just blast it, have a little dance party. So those are just a few things that really help me to get to a point where I can see the light, right? Where I can say like, okay, no, things are fine, right? And even connecting with family members, reaching out, trying to within my week, scheduling times that I'm going to contact my family members. Right now, my family has this group chat, and bef- I think my mom started it, and I was like, why do we have this? And recently, I've just found so much joy in it, from all my aunts and uncles and cousins, and um, just the love that is there, that connection, with all of us being in so many different places. And that's just brought so much joy to me. And again, really helps with bringing me back to the present moment, right? And that gives me the opportunity to connect with whichever relative I feel comfortable with, and letting them know like, hey, I'm not doing too well, or I'm worried, or this or that, or also have friends that I can really rely on, in terms of helping me get out of those moments, as well as my wonderful coworkers here at HIR Wellness, right? They offer such uh, a safe haven, like, if you will, to allow us to really explore in those ways. So um, those are just some things that's really helped in terms of navigating and reaching this kind of seeing the light, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and knowing, again, keeping it in this box of, this is only a moment in time, right? As anxious as I may get, as often as I may want to revert back to old unhealthy ways of dealing with stress, right? um you know, I guess for me, I don't put myself in that category of walking recovery, right? But I do choose not to partake in substances, right? And oftentimes I can get in moments of strong distress where, there's that urge to want to use a substance of some sort, right? And um again, being able to really lean on my support has been helpful. And just, it's so helpful, right? And being able to have at least one person we can identify, and even knowing that this group right here, relatives, is a support that, if we struggle, going back to Gwen, and the struggle with dealing with trust, right? Trust is hard. It's hard. Um, but you being here, being able to say like, I trust these people enough to be in this space, to share a little bit of me, and to listen to what they have to say, right? That we can reciprocate and learn from each other. It's so beautiful. So thank each and every one of you that are here, and know that this is a support, and that we got you. And that's something that I love to say. And when I say it, I truly mean it. So thank each and every one of you. So with that, I just want to pass to John. I'm curious as to, in what ways that have you um, learned to navigate this time?
And then just very quickly, I just wanted to read what Gwen
Mhm.
said. She said that you are all so helpful. This session has meant so much today.
Oh, Gwen,
Thank
Miigwech,
you.
thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
You being here is helping us.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, and then just kind of going back to what Xavier said, um, again, one thing for me is I really learned to start checking in on family members and people who you haven't checked in with for a long time. Because I feel like it was, as bad as COVID is, there were some good things that happened out of it. Like for me, there was family members from out of state that I have them on Facebook, but you don't really check in with them. And then because of COVID, I really started communicating with them again.
Mm.
And like what Xavier's family, my family created this family group chat on Facebook and stuff like that. And so has me and my other cousins, we started this group chat and we started to communicate more often on a regular basis now, which is the beauty of, you know, this pandemic. You know, there's some hope, there's some good things that came out of it. And I really appreciate that. And like my mom, like since my parents separated about 6 years ago, I used to never talk to my mom. And then because of the pandemic, I started talking to her more often. It's not as regularly as most people do, but for me, it's a huge improvement from maybe once every 3 months to every month now, which is for me is a huge improvement. And she also calls me out of the blue to check up on me, which never
Mm.
happened. So again, there's so much positive things, and as much as I know that the human interaction in person means so much for many of us, there's other ways of communicating just for this time period until things start to improve. And it's so important to have those support system and communicate more often and reaching out for help because again, her wellness, we're huge on the virtual services right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so definitely reach out to us. And there's many other agencies that are doing virtual services. And just knowing that you're not alone because there's many of us who are on the same boat. And reach out to loved ones, reach out to family members, reach out to friends who you haven't talked to in a while, and just creating those support networks. And again, support for me means more than just friends and family member. It can be like previous old coworkers who you used to work with and just reconnecting and just checking in on them and talking again. Just a reconnection. I feel like COVID has allowed us to take a step back and reconnect because, you know, before COVID, everyone's so busy doing work and all of this stuff. And it just really allowed us to take that step back. And I appreciate that about COVID. As much as there's just so much chaos and so much stuff going on, there's some hope and there's some positivity that came out of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, John, for sharing that. Seems like the family chat is a is a thing. So I'm happy to hear that. Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm really feeling that comment that Gwen made about trust and support systems. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So for myself, my support systems has always been my family, my immediate family, my husband, my children, my brother, my sister-in-law. And before I was with HIR Wellness Institute, I did not have a close relationship like what I experience now with my coworkers. There was a lot of years of toxicity with individuals in a professional setting that was really harmful to my heart and spirit. And I would trust individuals, and then I would find myself becoming harmed by whatever words or, um, just not kindness, it just wasn't kind. It was hurtful, and there was usually an agenda attached to it. And I seemed to be sometimes, I felt like I was a pawn in a game, like I was being used for something. And so that built in within me a really, a really thick outer shell where I did not want to let people in. I did not trust. The experiences that I've had because of domestic violence, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, that caused me to have a really thick shell and to only let people in if I was, I don't know, it took a while to let people in. And I learned a lot of unhealthy behaviors because of that. And still to this day, I'm working on them. I'm not perfect. I'm still working on them. And So I say that, Gwen, because you mentioned that, and I want you to know that we get it, that we've been there, and that it is possible to heal from whatever that is that has caused us to feel distrustful, that has caused us to react in a way that we felt that's what we had to do to protect ourselves. For me, it was a trauma response. It was a trauma response to kind of close up and go, nope, nope, I'm in this box. No one's going to get in. Nope, nope, nope. And what I learned over time is that as much as I've thought that I have worked on my healing and I have sort of ripped off the hard shell and said, I'm going to release myself and just going to allow all the goodness to happen. I still have a little bit of that shell. I still do. And I've been noticing that. And so that's one of the things that has been a big eye opener for me today is that, and this did happen today. I had this awakening of Jamie. It was like my spirit was talking to me, Jamie, you're safe. You're actually safe. It's okay. You can let go of that shell. You can let go. And you can go over there and sit down, or you can stand, or you can lay down. You can be with your husband, and you can just open up. Whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay. And I recognize that we're not all in that same space. I recognize that. But I just wanted to share that because continuously still up until today was still experiencing that. And I imagine that I'm going to experience it again at some point, but still had that little layer. It's like, I'm going to protect me. And the reality is that the longer that I hold on to that shell, the longer that I keep like covering myself up and just, I'm only going to let a little bit out. You only can see a little bit. I'm actually not really fully diving into my healing. I'm not fully like allowing myself to like just get drenched. Just get in there. Just dive in. Completely dive in, Jamie. That's where you're going to find the freedom. That's where you're going to finally say, wow, I let it go. I let the shell go. So that's my truth today. And that's what I'm working on. And I feel like right now in this moment, I'm better than what I was 3 hours ago. Sometimes it works like that, relatives. Sometimes it's moment by moment. How are we doing right now? You feeling better than you were 5 minutes ago? It's a win. That's a win. Not every day is going to feel like that golden star that we received in kindergarten. Did you guys get used to get those stars? Do you remember them? That was so exciting.
It was so exciting.
I'd be like, I got a star. I got a star. And it's gold. Woo, woo. But not every day is going to feel like that.
Yeah.
We're going to have some days where it's like, I didn't get not one star, not even like the lowest star on the strip, you know, whatever the like worst color is that you could get. Yeah. I didn't even get that. It's okay. It's okay. Because what we do then is we find our way back to some of those support systems that we've already talked about and practiced. And that's the piece that matters, right? So we're coming together on Fridays and we're talking about these things. And do you know what we're doing? We're practicing them in real time. We're talking about them, we're thinking about them. It's like we're planting little seeds of what do I do when I'm really having a hard day? Because most of the time we're probably showing up and we're like, I feel all right. I feel pretty good. Well, what do we do when everything just seems to like drop from the sky and is like, what the what? And we're looking around and our heart is heavy and our shoulders are feeling tense. And all of a sudden we're like this and we're like, ah, and we don't know. It's all these little pieces that we talk about on Fridays. It's planting those little seeds. So then all of a sudden it becomes natural where, like Xavier says, goes back to breath. Just take some deep breaths and release it. Or maybe all of a sudden you remember that, I remember they talked about meditation. I think I'm going to try that. Or, oh yeah, they always start with smudge. I've got some smudge over in the corner. I forgot about it. It's been sitting there. I'm gonna do that. I've got my tobacco ties. I've got my tobacco pouch. I have a meditation book. I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna just pick one page and just read what it says. Or maybe you remember that we've talked about positive quotes, positive affirmations. And you're like, okay, I'm on the computer. Let me type in Google, give me a positive affirmation because I can't think of one right now and my head is spinning and I feel like garbage. But I just remember that they mentioned even just saying a positive affirmation out loud to yourself is helpful. There's so many options that we have. Sometimes we just need a little reminder. And if we're really super lucky, we've got some friends, some family. I think we're really blessed if we have just one place that we know we for sure can go to. Just one support system. It might be a support group. It might be a family member. It might be a friend. It might be a coworker. It might be a spiritual advisor. It might be somebody that, it might be a clerk at a grocery store that you always see, that you walk through and they remember your name. Or maybe they just smile at you. They just say, how you doing? That can change everything for us. It can change everything. Xavier, thank you for bringing the workbook into our space. Thank you for really sharing all of that you did today.
It was my pleasure, my pleasure. And thank you, Jamie, for sharing. Thank you, John, for sharing as well. And Jamie, for really touching on some important points, right? This aspect of feeling safe, allowing ourselves to feel safe. And that because of our life lived experiences that, you know, sometimes it's hard to feel safe, and that's okay. It's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And also reminding us that a smile can go a long way, right? It can truly go a long way, for ourselves, for others, right? You never know what someone's going through. So just remembering to smile, and even in those moments where we find ourselves um, feeling stuck, feeling foggy, feeling heavy, maybe try just smiling, just smile, right? Your body doesn't know the difference. So if it's real or fake, right? Just look in the mirror and just give a big old smile. Say cheese. and and
Yes.
see how that feels, right? So I just wanted to point those two things out. But um yeah, thank you all. Thank you, relatives, for being here, bringing your voices into this space, and just allowing yourselves to explore, to think about things, um, and just sharing this space with us. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate each and every one of you, in our time together. So with that, I'll pass back to Jamie. Sorry, I just want to bring that in.
And I just want to read in Gwen's comment. She said that my heart is full right now. I feel so hopeful. And she said thank you to you all.
Mm,
Oh, miigwech, Gwen. Thank
yes.
you.
And then Jessica also said beautiful words.
Mm,
Oh, Jessica, miigwech. Gracias. You know what I was thinking? A good way for us to end today would be with a positive affirmation. And there's a really beautiful one that I think we may have talked about last week. Did we say that one, Xavier, last week? The one that we learned at our training? Or was
yes,
that in a different support group?
I think that was last week.
I think that was
Yeah.
last.
Good,
I don't know
good.
what day it is. What week is it? Where are we?
It's a pandemic. We're in a box. It's okay. You know what, though? I love that because here's the thing, relatives. The more times that we can repeat something, the more deeply planted it is.
Yeah.
So remember those little seeds.
Yeah.
It's okay if we repeat something. It's
Mm,
actually really good if we do. It starts to really get itself in there. That seed is like, just think of it as a little seed that's got little legs and it's diving in. It's like, woo, you're going to say it again. I'm going further. I'm going to deeply seed myself. I'm going to bury myself in your brain, and you are going to know me when you're feeling a little uncomfortable. And you're going to go, oh, yeah. Yeah. So that positive affirmation is I deeply and completely love and accept myself. You can say that to yourself anytime, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what's going on. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I think that's a good way to end today. You all have been amazing. Miigwech, thank you so much for showing, for being here, for being a part of our circle and bringing your energy, your spirit, your kindness and love. What we are doing together right now in the moment, what we've been doing is CAM, Community Activated Medicine. The people are the medicine. Xavier's the medicine, John's the medicine, I'm the medicine, Gwen, you're the medicine, Jessica, you're the medicine. We all have the medicine. And then we come together. Think about what kind of healing can happen when that does occur. Continue to show up and spread light and love, everyone. Miigwech, and thank you for being here with us. We'll be back next week, Friday, sometime around 4-ish p.m. Central Standard Time. Assuming that we can get through our technical difficulties, but you know what? It's all good.
yeah.
It's all good. We will see you next week. Gentlemen, do you have any final words for our relatives?
Yeah, I can go. So again, I just thank everyone for joining us each and every single week. And I'm just so thankful to be here with Jamie and Xavier Thursday and Friday, just to share everyone's knowledge and just bringing our authentic selves. And like what Jamie mentioned earlier, you know, we're all a work in progress.
Mm.
So just understanding that, you know, we're always working on improving ourselves each and every single day. And you just have to be kind to yourself when, you know, you feel like your day's not going well. Just being kind and understanding that, you know, not every day is going to be the best day ever. And that's just the reality. And we just have to be kind to ourselves during those times, and you will get through them. And just the positive affirmation, just repeating that over and over. Because even if you don't believe it right there and then, by repeating it over and over, you will believe it one day. And, you know, we believe in you. So thank you for joining us every Friday, relatives. And, you know, thank you, Xavier and Jamie, for always showing up with me on Friday. And we love it. We love showing up for you, relatives. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's hard to follow up after that. No. No, relatives. We're forever grateful to be in this space with you all, to share this healing, um, with you all. We're all learning from each other. We're all healing together, as both John and Jamie mentioned. So we thank you all. We love you all, and continue to join us every Friday around 4ish. We'll be here. So. So with that, I hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week.
Miigwech, Giga Wobbleman.